Hi, I'm Kim Novak, longtime friend of Kappa Alpha Order. I'm excited to have the opportunity to be part of your member experience. I have a unique background in history, so I thought I'd let you know a little bit about who I am. Currently, I'm the CEO of Novak Talks, an international consulting firm. I specialize in student-focused risk management, hazing prevention. I work with student governments and fraternal councils and chapters and national and international organizations. I spend a little bit of time with university administrators, maybe a little too much time with campus attorneys, but I enjoy the work I do. 16 years, I worked as a college administrator, 3 college campuses, Missouri State, Texas A&M University, and Arizona State. I do have to say, I miss sometimes being behind the desk, but I love what I do with college students. The new member experience in the fraternity, it's an exciting time. It's the beginning of what should be or could be a lifelong experience of brotherhood. And over the next several weeks, you're going to engage in a lot of different conversations. You're going to learn a lot of interesting information. You're going to learn history. You're going to learn about values. You're going to create new friendships. And one topic that you will consistently have come up is the concept of risk and the management of risk. What we oftentimes have done historically is welcome new members into our communities by letting them know about the risks that they're going to be exposed to. Yeah, Kappa Alpha Order, we have a little bit different approach than that. We want you to understand that, yeah, you've joined one of the highest risk populations on any college campus. Not true just for Kappa Alpha Order, true for the national fraternal movement. But that doesn't mean that you as an individual or the men in your fraternity have to succumb to the exposure of those risks. Here's the truth. Alcohol, higher probability in a social fraternity that you're going to engage or have the opportunity to engage in high-risk alcohol consumption. But the reality is you don't have to choose to engage in that high-risk consumption. The truth is that even though you're becoming part of or exploring the opportunity to become part of something bigger than yourself, you still retain you and your opportunity to make individual choices. Over the next several weeks, pay attention when you hear men talk about what it looks like to be a member of the order. Listen closely when brothers and initiated alumni talk about what it really means to be a KA. And when you find yourself in those high-risk situations with alcohol, think and know that you get to make the choice. You don't have to become part of the 70%. You can be a man of Kappa Alpha Order. In addition to the high-risk exposure to alcohol, hazing numbers are off the charts. We've done a lot of research, and we found out that there's, again, a higher probability that you will be exposed to the opportunity for hazing to take place in a social men's fraternity. We're going to own that. We don't shy away from it. But what you need to know as a new member is that it's not your responsibility to stop the hazing. It's not your obligation to prevent the hazing. It's your responsibility to not succumb to the hazing. Nowhere in the history of Kappa Alpha Order, nowhere in the legacy of this fraternity is there language that says that you should be humiliated or degraded. No one expects you to be a servant to anyone else. No one thinks of you as less than any other man who has ever hoped to join this order. You have a right to dignity and respect. And as a man who pursues membership in KA, that's what we ask you to seek. One of the most exciting things about being a new member in a fraternity is this social scene. After all, it's a social organization. And you're going to have a lot of opportunity to meet a lot of really interesting people over the next several weeks. And if you play your cards right, over the next several years. But here's the deal. Over the next several weeks, over the next several years, it's not just about socializing and meeting people, it's about making decisions and making the appropriate choices. You're gonna have that opportunity to meet that young woman, maybe create a relationship, maybe just create a relationship for the night. Here's the question you have to ask. Is she ready to give consent? Is she capable to give consent? What does that look like? Sober. She needs to be sober and you need to be sober. And you have to make the decision not just for your personal safety and her health and safety, but because it's the right thing to do. And it's what a man in the order would do. Drugs. We have no idea what the current impact of drugs are on the social fraternal movement. There was a time in our history where we started to get a handle on it, where we thought that what we understood was that the exposure to recreational drugs was on the rise in our fraternal movement, nationally, not just in Kappa Alpha Order, and oftentimes not at all in Kappa Alpha chapters. But we knew there was a risk of exposure to drug use. And now we have not just the party drugs, but we have the study drugs to contend with. And yes, you as a young man seeking membership in a fraternity may find yourself in a social situation where either you see individuals taking drugs, someone offers you the opportunity to engage in drug use, and here's what you have to do. Make a choice. because the decision is yours. Kappa Alpha Order stands strongly against drug use in its fraternity, and in fact has led the nation in conversations about curbing drug use in the social fraternity. As a young man who aspires to be part of the order, you need to stop and, like with every other high-risk activity, think. Think before you make the choice. Because along the way, as you become a member of Kappa Alpha Order, you will become a member of something bigger than yourself, but again, no need to leave the individual behind. The choice is yours.